The alarm goes off. Your eyes open, and in that fraction of a second before memory floods back in, before yesterday's worries reattach themselves to your mind, there is a gap, a blank page, a moment of pure, unwritten potential. What you write on that page in the next 60 seconds will color everything that follows. This is not poetry. This is neuroscience and ancient philosophy meeting in the same quiet room. Words are not decoration, they are instructions. Every sentence you speak to yourself is a command sent to the part of your brain that decides how to interpret the world. Say, "I am overwhelmed," and your nervous system listens, tightens, prepares for threat. Say, "I am steady," and something else happens entirely. The same morning, the same circumstances, two completely different days, built from two different sentences. The Stoics knew this before anyone had a word for neuroscience. Epictetus, born into slavery, taught that it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire at war, wrote private notes to himself every morning, not to plan his battles, but to prepare his mind. He understood something most people never learn. The first conversation of the day is the most important conversation you will have, and it happens entirely with yourself. Most people lose this conversation before it even starts. They wake up and reach immediately for a screen. They let a notification decide their mood. They let an old argument replay before their feet touch the floor. They hand the steering wheel of their day to whatever thought arrives first, uninvited, unexamined, and then they wonder why the day feels like it is happening to them instead of through them. You are here because you want something different, not a complicated morning routine, not a 2-hour ritual you will abandon by Thursday, just 5 words. 5 words you can speak before your phone is even unlocked, before the world gets a vote in how you feel. 5 words with enough weight behind them to bend the direction of your entire day. This is not magic. Saying a sentence once will not transform your life, but repetition rewires the brain. This is neuroplasticity, not affirmation culture. Every time you choose a thought deliberately instead of accepting whatever drifts in, you strengthen a pathway. Do it enough mornings in a row, and that pathway becomes the road your mind defaults to, even under pressure, even on the hard days. The Stoics were not gentle theorists removed from suffering. Seneca wrote about tranquility while living under the threat of execution. Epictetus taught freedom of mind from inside a body that was, for years, legally owned by someone else. Marcus Aurelius wrote about acceptance while burying friends and commanding armies through plague and war. They did not philosophize from comfort. They built their wisdom inside hardship, which is exactly why it still holds weight today. So before we go further, if any of this is landing with you, take a second and hit like, drop a comment with where you're watching this from, and subscribe if you want more of this kind of thinking in your life. This channel exists for people who are done leaving their mornings to chance. Stay until the end. Each of these 5 words builds on the one before it. Let's begin. Number 1. I am present. Most suffering does not live in this moment. It lives in the replay of what already happened or the rehearsal of what has not happened yet. Your body is here, in this bed, in this room, in this morning. Your mind is usually somewhere else entirely, in a meeting that hasn't occurred, in a conversation from 3 days ago that still stings. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your thoughts live in the past or future, your present moment, the only one you actually have access to, gets drained of color completely. You miss your own life while trying to manage a version of it that does not exist yet. When you say, "I am present," you are calling your attention back into your body, into this exact hour. You feel the weight of the blanket. You hear the sound outside the window. You notice your own breath without trying to control it. This is not relaxation for its own sake. This is reclaiming the territory where your power actually lives, because you cannot choose your response to a moment you are not actually in. Say it slowly. I am present. Let your shoulders drop half an inch. That is the rewiring beginning. Number 2, I welcome difficulty. This one sounds strange the first time you say it. Nobody wants difficulty. But the Stoics practiced something they called the love of fate, the willingness to meet whatever comes, even hardship, as material for growth rather than as an enemy to be avoided. Seneca wrote that fire tests gold and adversity tests the brave. Difficulty is not evidence that your life is going wrong. It is the raw material your character is made from. The version of you that you are trying to become does not get built during easy weeks. It gets built in the friction. When you say, I welcome difficulty, before the day has even started, you are removing the element of surprise. You are telling your nervous system in advance that obstacles are not emergencies. They are simply the terrain. This does not mean you go looking for pain. It means when pain finds you, and it will, you do not waste energy resisting its existence. You spend that energy responding to it instead. Picture the version of you who can sit across from a hard conversation, a financial setback, a diagnosis, a delay, without falling apart. That person was not born calm. That person practiced this sentence enough mornings that difficulty stopped feeling like betrayal and started feeling like training. Number 3, I do the work in front of me. So much anxiety comes from trying to solve tomorrow's problems with today's energy. The mind races ahead, trying to control outcomes that have not arrived, trying to map out every branch of every possible future. And while it does that, the actual task, sitting directly in front of you, the one thing you could finish in the next hour, sits untouched. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly to do the next right action and leave the rest. Not because the bigger picture doesn't matter, but because the bigger picture is built entirely from small, completed actions. There is no shortcut around the present task. There is only the present task, done well or avoided. When you say, I do the work in front of me, you are giving yourself permission to stop carrying 10 unfinished futures at once. You are choosing the one thing that is actually yours to do right now. The email, the workout, the conversation you've been avoiding, the single page of the project, not the whole mountain, just the next step on it. This sentence is an anchor against overwhelm. It pulls your focus down from the impossible scale of everything to the manageable scale of this. And this, done consistently, is how every meaningful thing has ever actually been built. Number 4, I am not my mistakes. Somewhere along the way, many people learned to treat their failures as identity rather than information. A mistake becomes proof of inadequacy instead of simply being what it is, data about what did not work this time. And so the morning starts already carrying yesterday's error like a verdict instead of a lesson. Epictetus taught a sharp distinction between what is in our control and what is not. The past action is no longer in your control. It already happened. What remains in your control is the meaning you assign to it now and what you do next. Confusing the two, treating an old mistake as a permanent sentence, is exactly the kind of error the Stoics warned against. When you say, I am not my mistakes, you're separating your worth from your record. You can still take responsibility. You can still make amends, apologize, correct course. None of that requires self-condemnation. Accountability without shame is possible, and it is far more effective, because shame paralyzes, while accountability moves you forward. This sentence does not erase the past. It simply refuses to let the past write the rest of the story. You are allowed to have failed yesterday and still walk into today as someone capable of something better. Number 5. I choose calm over chaos. Chaos is loud, urgent, and seductive. It convinces you that the only appropriate response to a stressful situation is more stress. But calm is not the absence of difficulty. Calm is a decision made in the middle of difficulty, repeated until it becomes a default state rather than an occasional achievement. Seneca wrote that the greatest remedy for anger is delay, that a calm mind sees options an agitated mind cannot even perceive. This is not about suppressing emotion. It is about refusing to let emotion drive the car. You can feel frustration, fear, grief, and still choose calm as the frame you carry it in. When you say, I choose calm over chaos, you are pre-deciding how you want to move through friction before the friction arrives. The traffic, the difficult coworker, the unexpected bill. None of these require panic to be handled well. In fact, panic almost always makes the handling worse. Calm is not weakness. Calm is what allows clear thinking to actually happen. Say it and notice your jaw unclench. Notice your breath slow down half a second. That is not nothing. That is the nervous system receiving a new instruction and slowly learning to trust it. 5 words, 5 mornings, 1 new mind. I am present. I welcome difficulty. I do the work in front of me. I am not my mistakes. I choose calm over chaos. These 5 sentences are not a performance for anyone else. No one will see you say them. They exist purely for the relationship between you and your own mind, the most important relationship you will ever maintain. The Stoics did not write their philosophy to be admired. They wrote it to survive exile, illness, loss, and power with their character intact. That is the same use these 5 words have for you now. There will be mornings you forget. There will be mornings the old patterns win before you even get out of bed. That is not failure. That is simply being human. The goal is not a perfect streak. The goal is a direction. One morning at a time, you are choosing who answers when your mind asks, "What do we believe today?" If this resonated with you, like the video. Tell us in the comments which of these 5 words you needed most today, and share this with someone who tends to wake up already fighting their own mind. Subscribe if you want to keep building this with us. Your mornings are not small. They are the architecture of everything else. Your mind is listening right now. What will you tell it tomorrow?